Everybody, and welcome to Hex Token Channel. Your host, Superman, in the house. Another day for us Hexicans and Pulsechans to rock it up in the DMV because it's a pretty green day. Lots of good news going our way in January. It's pretty cool. So the outlook's even improving for the 2023. So that's kind of cool. We're going to talk all about that. So get into the chat, folks. Say hello. There is the markets at the moment. We're going to get into that. But first of all, we're going to be talking about Brazology, one of our awesome community members. And of course, he has done some artwork. We've been using that yesterday and today for the thumbnails. So they're definitely looking awesome there with some of his cool Pulsechain and Hex.com stuff there. So I'm going to post a link to his tweets there if you want to get access to some of that. Definitely hit up Brazology. He will be more than happy to help you out with getting some cool artwork. And he's got a whole series of these little pieces of artwork, which are really, really cool around Pulsechain and Hex. So definitely check them all out. There's tons of them in his Twitter thread. He's even got some of Richard Hart as a lion. So some pretty cool stuff there. You can see lots of cool things on there. So if you want to get access to some of this stuff, definitely check it out on Brazology's channel. Yeah, the thumbnail yesterday and today's thumbnail both based on that. So it was pretty cool. Big shout out to Briz for his artwork. He's really creative. Right, so cool. We've also got the Hex conference as well. Before we get into the Hex conference, though, don't forget to smash the sub button, hit the like button, hit the bell on the way in. The good times are rolling and things are looking pretty good. Looks like we may get into a scenario which I haven't talked as much about, which is kind of cool. Things may be heading in the right direction for some better asset plays in 23. So we're going to talk about that. In any case, we've got the Hex conference. And that's going pretty good. something there. We got the Hex conference there. It's going pretty good. That's starting up in 86 minutes. We'll probably have finished our live stream just before that time. So it's 86 minutes, so you won't miss out anything like that. That will be on. This is the first show, of course. I'm going to post the link to this, of course, in the chat there if you want to queue this up for later on. We've got a poll in the house at the moment, just on whether you're going to watch that. We've got 16 votes so far. Will you be watching day one Hex conference, which starts in 86 minutes? Yes, maybe, or nope. So get in there, obviously, depending on if you've got time and stuff like that. So that is the Hex conference coming up. Looks like there's already 76 people waiting, and of course, people commenting in there. So it's cool. You can also throw a thumbnail there. That's on Matty Allen's channel. So we're looking for that. So what's going to be on? This is the Hex conference website. I'm going to post this in the chat there as well, just in case you want to see that. So it's kind of cool. So I'll post that. And, of course, we're going to get into the timetable quickly. Before we do that, though, let's get into the house and see who is in the chat here. Got a couple of people in the house. So we've got Uncle Will says Texan token went live today on ETH mainnet, a contract address. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that today. That is in our coverage for a live stream today, so stay tuned for the Texan token. Wookie's in the house there. Hey, good. Wookie is first, just after Uncle, but you're first. Other than that, you're second first. Wookie, good to see Wookie in the house. Mikey says, hello all. What's up, Suman? Let's go Hex. Yeah, Hex looking pretty nice today. Nice job there, Briz. Yeah, big shout out to Briz for his artwork. It really is cool. And of course, Magnus says, hey, Superman, good to see you, Magnus, as always. Brian in the house as well, one of our two community leads. We got Matt in Bali. Morning, Superman. Always a pleasure, Matt. Great to see you in the chat there. We've got, who else there? Christian, sup, familia. Good to see Christian as well. Jim Rat Crypto's in the house. Let's freaking go, says Jim Rat Crypto. And, of course, hey, Jim Rat, could you been popping up on lots of different chats that I've been watching? Been watching a few videos, and you've been popping up on some of the chats on those videos, getting engaged. So that's really cool. Keep up the great stuff there, Jim Rat. Hope everyone is having a great day. I think we're having a pretty good day, although it just started raining outside. It just started raining. Tufon in the house there, coffee and Hex Token channel. Hey, I like that, Tufon. Yeah, grab that good old latte. I've got a little bit of a coffee. It's getting a bit cold, but hey, not too bad. Dank's in the house. Good morning to our favorite Kiwi. Hey, Dank, appreciate that. And of course, QQ as well. LFG, we got a good pump. Frankie Candles gave a shout out to Richard Hart today on BitBoy. Oh, that's pretty nice. That always helps, doesn't it? Getting the big YouTubers out there as well. All right, so cool. This is the Hex conference. We're about to have day one start, and you can see that we're 84 minutes away from that. And it's funny, just when I go to the live stream, I feel like sneezing for some reason, and maybe it's the rain start. I don't know. Anyway, we've got day one in the house. That's going to be starting. It's going to be the introduction with Crypto Coffee, the biggest native YouTube Pulsechain YouTuber in the space. So it's going to be cool. Crispy Man giving all the old info there on what's it, hexifire.io. So a big shout out to Hexy Man there, Hex Monkey and Mark Wild. Now I'm not too familiar with the next two people, but I probably may have seen them, but just not familiar with the names. But that's in panel 1. So it's going to be starting off pretty good there. We've got testimonials there, panel 2. And of course, 18 speakers with 3 minutes. So that's going to be pretty busy in there. Hopefully that flows smoothly when you've got so many people. Hopefully that flows smoothly. You got all the people in here, right? So panel 2A, panel 2B, lots of cool people in there. The whole list there is in. We've even got Brazology in there as well. DJ Paulie Wood, Jen Hex there, Freddie Quotes, Thoschild, quite a few people in there you may know. So awesome stuff. Then, of course, we've got talk in the afternoon at 9 o'clock, or in the evening, I should say. There's all in the evening time. 9 o'clock here. This is Central Time. And, of course, we've got Alex there and Dev Ruth. So it's going to be some really cool technical stuff. Alex might end up talking about not just Hedron and Acosa, but possibly his data center as well, and prep for Pulsechain, I think that is. And, of course, Dev Ruth there around the official bridge. Hopefully we'll get some updates around that. That could be real alpha in there around the official bridge for Pulsechain. So looking forward to that. Then a talk 2 there. We've got tutorial from Fashion Coder around Pulse. And then in talk 3 towards 10 o'clock, we've got Crypto Coffee around Hex. So there's a Pulse and a Hex tutorial there. So if you're new to Pulsechain and Hex, definitely ones to watch there. Then we've got the keynote at 10 o'clock in the evening from the looks of it. This is one of my alpha ones, the Kinetics Hex Investment Trust. This potentially is a huge thing in the future for Hex if it plays out the way we hope it will. This could open us up to the biggest capital markets in the world and actually put Hex on the map. It's one of the most investable cryptos out there. There might be tens of thousands of cryptos, but there's only maybe a couple hundred that are really high quality. And out of that, there may be only 20, 30 that are really truly going to be valued very, very highly over time. And so looking forward for Hex to be in that position, and access to the big capital markets is a big deal to get those prices moving. So that's pretty cool. We've got keynote 1 there, part 2, Johnny Chaos in there as well. And then finally finishing off with the social. If you like all the social stuff, that is there at the end. And of course, they've got quite a few people. Serena Alonzi there. We've got D-Raj Moore. I think he's the one that sings as well. And Freddie Quotes, Class, and a few others in there. You probably know some of those names. That is day one. So that's going to be starting in about 81 minutes. So big shout out to Maddie and everybody watching that. So that's cool. We're going to jump out of there, though. We're going to get into the stock market update. Before we do that, let's catch up a bit more in the chat there. Brennan says, morning, Superman and family. Good morning to you, Brennan. Hey, all good to see you, Superman. Woohoo! Yeah, well, it's a great day, hasn't it? The last couple of days been particularly great. Brennan says, gave you a shout out on a Cabana stream. Nice one, Brennan. Good work there. Very nice. Jim Critter says, what they're talking about, me tokens spill the beans. No, you were on the chats. You were asking questions on the live streams, and I've seen you on a couple. So get us just engaging with other streamers on their streams. It's quite cool. That's very good. Matty and Barley says, Hex Token Superman, you're not there. I thought you were leading the way. Hey, Matt, for the first time I was actually invited, but I just don't feel like going on anything at the moment. So that's pretty much it. I just don't feel like doing anything. So I'm just doing my own thing at the moment. That's kind of where I feel comfortable. That's pretty much it, Matt. Jimmy Crypto says, oh, yes, I love the lives, man. Yeah. Very cool. Getting engaged on the cryptos. I did see you. The last one I saw you on was the Jack Levin with Crypto Kindness, the last video he just did. I think you asked a question around, posted some information there as well. Matt Barley's in the house. Hey, Brennan. You're probably my favorite for info and good times, says Jim Rat. Hey, Jim, appreciate that. Big shout out to you. And as always, just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're touching all the bases. It's pretty good to me. KD Wave says, KD. Yeah, KD. Hi, KD. That's from Matt. Large Pizza says, glad to catch you alive. Woohoo! I continue to dollar cost average in the Hex. Great time for it. Yeah, very good time for it. Large Pizza. You've played it very well the last couple of days, if that's been the case. Superman is a lone wolf. Appears so. A bit of a lone wolf at the moment, but that's fine. It's always good to have a few lone wolves amongst the streamers, right? That's it. So cool. Let's get into the stock market today. Dow scores weekly win as slowing wage growth eases Fed fears. This is very, very good. This could give us a more bullish scenario this year. As you already know, I already had a slightly bullish scenario, and that is I thought the Fed would pivot September, October this year, rather than a lot of the commentators. We went through all the top 5 investment banks. Remember, a couple of weeks back, their outlook for 23 was not until the pivot would happen at the end of the year 24. And so that's kind of the pivot that I was feeling like, given the way the metrics were going with inflation and things like that, that we were actually going to be able to pivot earlier and that the terminal rate wouldn't be as high. So that's kind of where we're head there, with the terminal rate might get to 5% and we might pivot earlier. Now, typically the Fed always goes too high and it stays up too long. So that's it sounds like the 3 Little Pigs or something like that. Anyway, so it's pretty close to that. Right, so that is pretty much it. So this is actually kind of a green shoot. Now, we may have a better time in 23. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be some harsh stuff there with the recession. It's still in the pipeline, but it looks like we may, if the Fed pivots earlier, it goes lower, then we might be better off. So we'll see how we go. The Dow Jones Industrials there up 2% today, so risk on today. Remember, this is the top 30 industrials. The S&P 500 up 2.28%, 86 points to 3,895. And the Nasdaq, with all the tech companies, which has been hit lately, hit quite a bit lately, is up 2.5%, 264 points to 10,569. So nice risk on day, really good increases there, over 2%, 2.5%. So really good. Now the dollar, obviously, with risk on, dollar has sold off a little bit there versus its trading partners, down 1.13%, down to 103.648 versus its trading partners. Now, what's happened to the commodities? Let's have a look. The oil, Brent oil is pretty much just down a tad, 13 cents at $78.56. West Texas is up 6 cents to $73.73. So they're basically flat. That's kind of where they are. The gold, however, is up 1.67% to $1,871. It's $1,871. And, of course, the silver there, that's $30 increase for gold. So this is a pretty good day in the office. Silver is up 2.3%, up 55 cents to $23.97. Silver is the one that people are talking about, particularly people like Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, about, this might have a big boom. But if the Fed pivots, US dollar tanks, this is how it's going to happen, right? Fed pivots, US dollar tanks, and, of course, the commodities like silver could rally. And, of course, he's talked about 5 to 25x. I'd be on the low end of that. I just don't know that 25x, that's a pretty powerful one for silver, but definitely there could be quite a good bull run here for silver if that does occur. Obviously, Fed's got to pivot, US dollar's got to tank. Play that up. Now let's have a look at the commentary. The Dow racked up gains Friday to end the first week of trading of the year in green, as data showed cooling wage growth, and that's really what we've been looking at, right? The inflation rate coming down and the stubborn part of the sector. We've seen good inflation going down. We've seen property service inflation going down, but we've seen cracks in that market too. We've also seen, we hadn't seen the non-service sector wages and things like that come down, and we're finally starting to see a bit of that. So that's kind of cool. That's bullish for us. And a slight contraction in the services activity revived investor expectations for less hawkish Fed Reserve. Now, it may not play, the timing may not play out as well, but this is definitely heading in the right direction. We've had inflation come back down from 9.1%. Inflation can actually come down really, really, really fast. So that's kind of cool. It looks like we're actually heading in the right direction there, and that's also going to relieve pressure as well. So stay tuned for that. Now, the economy created 223,000 jobs in the US last month, well above economist estimates of 200,000. But the unemployment rate fell to 3.5%. Average hourly earnings fell more than expected to 4.6%, easing worries about wage growth spiral that would force the Fed to lean more hawkish on rate hikes. Treasury yields sort of took this information in, fell sharply as investors continued to price in the step down in the pace of rate hikes as the Fed's next meeting next month. Of course, we've cued that in on our Hex timetable. We'll be talking about that later. Sentiment on a hawkish Fed was also supported by data pointing to weakness in the economy following unexpected contraction in services activity. So there we go. ISM non-manufacturing data for December fell to 40.6, missing expectations of 55. So 55, and it got to 40.6. And remember, a reading below 50 indicates a contraction. So that's not great. So 40.6, big contraction there in the non-manufacturing data. That's early signs there. But not everyone on Wall Street is convinced that the latest economic data will meaningfully shift the Fed's thinking on the pace of monetary policy tightening. And I think there's probably a reasonable caution here. The market seems to be thinking that given this trend of data, perhaps the Fed won't have to raise 50 basis points again in February. Maybe it will be less, or maybe they'll choose to pause. I kind of feel like we're probably fitting in the 25, although if the Fed does its overreaction, and typically even if the data's coming back, then 50 could still be in play. We don't necessarily agree with that line of thinking. Brian Mulberry, client portfolio manager of Zacks Investment Management, told investment.com. In the minutes from the Fed's December meeting released this week, it was unanimous amongst members of the FOMC group. They are going to keep interest rates high for all year long. And that is where those investment firms all came in. We talked about a couple of weeks back about all the way through the end of the year before we get a true pivot. Yep. So that's pretty much it. We had obviously some action with Apple and Tesla there. I'm going to jump through all of that. So let's move over to the crypto markets. The crypto markets like the news, and of course BTC briefly touched 17K earlier. It's currently at 16,931. Ethereum, which had already been moving up a little bit, is now up at 1,267, up 1%. So let's see what we can do over the weekend. Obviously, the stock market is closed, but crypto is 24/7. Yeah, baby, yeah. That's what we love about it. And of course, BNB there is up 6%, 0.6% there to $259. So we'll be watching all these in play. The rest of the market's pretty much following suit. Just trying to see, there are a couple of slightly outperformers there, but there's some of the smaller ones there. ECT sort of standing out there, 12% up there at $20.45 for ETC. It's kind of some of the standouts there you can see in green. So we've got SNX up there, 6% as well, $1.63. Otherwise, there's a few other ones around. That's kind of the play there. We've got the stable coins, both of them slightly under peg again. So both of them slightly under $1. That's pretty much it on the markets. But let's jump over to the big news, of course. We've got on nomics.com. We've got the current total global market cap at $854 billion, up 75 100ths of a percent. How about that? That's pretty cool. 854. Bring back $3 trillion. Bring it back. Let's get back over 1 trillion. That's be your first target, right? Get back over 1 trillion. We've got Bitcoin up, of course, Ethereum up. We've got Binance up. We've got XRP up 1.7%. Dogecoin up 1.1%. Cardano up 3.2%. Polygon up 1%. We've got Polkadot up 1.2%. Litecoin up 2.2%. Hey, bring back Litecoin. Litecoin up there. We've got Solana up just a fraction of a percent. Shiba Inu is up 74 hundredths of a percent there. And of course, there's so many zeros on that. This is probably the most similar one if you're going to look at Zen. This is kind of your most similar one there. I've seen some analysts out there comparing Zen to the wrong, like the Hex. This is the wrong comparison. It's a flawed thing. There's so many problems with that comparison. So just be cautious if you see Zen Hex comparisons. There's too many differences. We could talk about that, but there's a lot of differences there. Be cautious of that. I think SHIB is a much better model, but SHIB is though if you minted forever and you had nothing else. But Zen's not like that either. So we're going to talk about that later on. Now, this is the good news, folks. Hex has moved back into the top 20. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yes, boy. Up three positions back in the top 20. Let's get back to the top 10 because we know it's going to happen, right? We're going up, up, and away. Once Pulsechain comes out, man, it's going to be the beastie boy in crypto. Crypto needs it. Now, there's things happening in the NFT space. There's a few other blockchains around, but nothing's going to be like the ginormous ecosystem that Pulsechain is going to be dropping. It's going to be absolutely epic, and crypto needs it. Pulsechain is very likely to show the rest of the world, especially after the CeFi and centralized exchange burned in 2022, that quality DeFi is there. And of course, Pulsechain is going to offer that big safe haven, that big country that people want to go to, they want to flock to, whether they cross the southern border over it or not. Are they going to get there by any means possible? And of course, it's going to offer that quality DeFi space. So Pulsechain is going to be pretty epic. Now, Hex is up 14.73% on the daily. So that's pretty cool to see. We're up at 2.483 cents at the moment. We're going to talk more about that as well. So that's the top 20, folks, on the crypto. There's not really too much in the crypto news that's of particularly value. There's a couple little minor updates. Obviously, yesterday we talked about Silvergate and other stuff like that. So that's pretty much there. Obviously, Genesis and Gemini still ongoing with those issues. So that's kind of the highlights there. Let's jump over to Hex, though. We're going to get to Hex. Look at this beautiful candle. Yeah, boy. We've got Hex here. We're going to talk about this. We're going to deep dive on this one. Before we do that, though, let's get back into the chat and catch up a bit more. We've got Matt says a hex-shaped pizza large and a large bintang bet. Hey, Matt, that's worthy of a flight to Bali to go pick up that. So to have some pizza, a large pizza, and some large bintang beers, that's worthy of a trip to Bali. You might have too many Hexicans to Pulsechains flying into Bali now, Matt, with that sort of offer. This channel is the only one that I keep up to date. Also, your streams are more information dense than others and well thought out consistently. Hey, thanks, John. That's what I try to focus on, that, and trying to actually increase that the information content. So appreciate that, John. Pulsechain says I bought some Hex at 1.8 cents and sold it this morning with profits. I bought Pulse Bitcoin, says Pulse Beta. And of course, AP says, howdy, Superman. Woohoo! What a time to be in Hex. I think so, AP. I think so. We're going to talk about the Hex price in full now, so stay tuned for that. Matt says, silver probably going to run one day, but I bought a fair bit of silver in 2010 at around $28 an ounce and had a big rise to $49, $50. Of course, I didn't sell like I didn't sell at the 2017-18 crypto top. Yeah, that's unfortunate. You've learned a lot more since then, though, Matt, right? You've learned to take profits. We've got EIS in the house. Hex boy. Yeah, good to see you, EIS. And a PSI is in as well. Hex, you said. Did I spell that right? Never heard of it. I think he's talking about Rex, I think. Brendan says Hex PLS PLSX will be the driver for the DeFi adoption. I agree with you there. I think that's one of the mega themes that people may be missing, particularly the big, large influencers in the space. And of course, some of them have sacrificed with Pulsechain, Pulsechain, so they're going to actually amplify it as well, and they may even start shifting their behavior from margin trading and stuff like that. Now, they still get a lot of sponsored deals, and of course, that gives them a lot of funding as well. I'm sure BitBoy is in that place, and we've seen BitBoy turning a bit too, right? So it's kind of cool. Sandy Beach in the house. Hello, everybody. Good to see you, Sandy Beach. Very, very cool. All right, let's get into it. We've got Hex at the moment, 2.473 cents. Looking nice here. When's the last time that we had a nice increase? Back here in October. That was our last big increase here. That is kind of the cool comparison. Where did we get up to in October here? We went up all the way up to about 57% in 4 days, 57% gains in 4 days. That was our last little pump there. Let's have a look where we are at the moment. We're up in 3 days, so compared to 4 days, we're pumped up around about 40%. So it's still that's suggestive. We still have room to move just on that comparison alone. But of course, we have the Hex conference about to start very, very soon. And of course, at the end of this live stream, pretty much. So that's going to be bullish. And of course, we've got a few days in the house there. I'm just trying to think where I put my overlays. But anyway, we're going to go put the overlays back on. Bam, there we are with the overlays. And we're going to have a look, zoom right out. So Hex has been in a very long bear market. Obviously, it's one of the few coins, maybe top 4, that made a 10,000x approximately. And of course, once you get to that high price, you've still got a large volume in the public's hands. I estimate that's around 15 billion or so, give or take. Then you've still got a lot of stuff to be sold down during that high price. So that's kind of what we've seen, really. I guess there's been no surprises from that. It's been a very long bear market, of course. Let's have a quick look at that time zone. So I'm going to take off the overlays. We're going to have a quick look how many days that has been. We're going to go back to the 19th September here and see where we got up to. So we got up to pretty much 96.8%, somewhere around that ballpark. We could round that up at 97 if you wanted to. But that's kind of where we are. Over 474 days. 474 days. So that's quite a long time. Remember, Hex is on day, 1,131, 32. So that's kind of where we are by comparison. So quite a bit of time there. But hey, look, not many coins do a 10,000x, right? Not many, and if you had staking as well, then well in excess of 22,000 or something like that. So that's kind of cool. That is where we are at the moment. That's if you bought the bottom, of course, bought the bottom. All right, so 4th of January, 2020. All right, so that is there, 2.473 cents. That is our play there at the moment. Now, where do I think that it could probably go to in this pump? Now, I think we're going to keep pumping through the Hex conference, and that's kind of where I feel is my base case, rather than get us sold off this time, get us sold off early. So we're going to talk about that. So let's have a quick look at that briefly. We got the RSI here on the daily. This is the daily RSI. And of course, we have this already climbing. Like we were oversold here. We've got a nice rally into this, and the RSI is climbing pretty fast. We didn't pivot down at 50%, so So we didn't get rejected at 50% here. We just keep powering up. There's a Brennan, you were talking about 50% yesterday or the day before. We're powered up here. We're currently at about 55. And of course, I have a good feeling, given just what's going on, that we could easily continue this rally and move into the overbought territory, just like back up here. And it's kind of where I feel we've got a good chance of that. Nothing is certain, right? Nothing is investment advice, but I'm just playing what I think is more probable than not. And of course, this is where we are at the moment. And we could get a few more days in the house there. So if we go all the way, let's add back on the overlay so I can give you context for that. We've got the conference here that's in orange here. And of course, I think that if we can keep running up with the RSI, we'll end up particularly getting up maybe about 2 cents on this drive. That's kind of where I'm feeling. So 2 cents on this drive. We're starting at about 1.8 cents. So that'll get us up to, potentially we could get up to about maybe 3.7 cents, something like that. We could get up there on that drive. That'd be a 2x from here. Then we're going to get some profit taking, right? The market's not going to hold up there for long. So we might get up that high. That's definitely possible over the next couple of days. And of course, let's talk about this. This is the first catalyst. This is excluding Pulsechain. This is excluding Pulsechain narrative, but with the preamp of Pulsechain, because kind of seems to be driving the market. We've had some people moving the price here. So if we get up to the end of the 9th is when Richard Hart's going to give his keynote speech. We see rumblings and rumors about Pulsechain testnet, and we could very well see this sort of push higher here, and we've still got room in the RSI to do it. So that's kind of what I think is more probable is a bullish case, of course, and I think we've already got the momentum in our back, as it were. And of course, this is kind of where I see the upside going to with the potential 2 cent move. So 1.8 to potentially 3.8, probably slightly lower than that, right? Maybe about the 3.7. That's definitely possible in this time frame that we're in at the moment. So that's kind of the play. That'd be a 4-day rally as well. So they're pretty similar 4-day rally, maybe 5-day rally there as well, and that would particularly get us to do basically a 2x at the price there, getting us up to about 3.7 or so, maybe just slightly above. So that's kind of the play there. That's the bullish case, and I think it's slightly more probable than being sold off here at this position at the moment. So that's kind of where I feel. Obviously not investment advice. You got to take your own, do your own thing on that. That's just my thoughts on it. Well, the other bullish sign we've also got in this chart is that we could potentially have the EMA, that's the exponential moving average, cross each other. So we've got the 21-day in orange, the 9-day in orange there, and the 21-day in red. When the short term crosses the longer term 21-day exponential moving average, that's kind of a bullish sign. And you can see that back here when last time we did our pump back here in October. This was a much quicker late because we'd had a moving sideways action, and this was very short, the sideways action. And so we had a very long sideways action, and then we had a quick cross, and of course a bullish pump in there. So it looks like we're going to get a cross here, but this is probably we've already played out, I think, a good amount of this move higher. So if we have a look here, we've already played out quite a bit of the move, and we may be, what are we up to, 2.8. So we're probably about 40% the way through this move. Definitely we could, if we do get the fulsome of this move, then we could potentially get up to 3.7, 3.8. Now, what I think is going to happen after that, well, I think that really depends on whether we get Pulsechain testnet V3 announced, not announced in the sense that Richard's going to do it. I don't know. He's not going to give us time frames. I don't think he's in that camp anymore. He sort of said he doesn't like time frames, but he might just say, yeah, testnet's coming soon, and then maybe it just launches, something like that. Something like that may happen. Testnet's coming soon, and it launches. Maybe he does that. He could do a reveal on the day. That would be pretty cool. I just don't not confident that's going to happen. It does just seem to be what I think he's going to be doing at the moment. But definitely that is possible. So if that does, that's an optionality. But if that does play out, and of course some of the rumor that may be feeding this price pump, some of the big buyers that ended up pushing this high as well, that leads us into that sort of next bullish thing. Now, what would that do? That would break down the whole bullish chart of mine, because then we have a special event, and a special event would probably be seen pretty well, and that could take us even higher in the price. And then we're probably talking about, we could even potentially, with enough funds, get up into the 7 cent range. That's kind of where I feel that we could go there. That would be super bullish. But that's a special event. That's the Pulsechain testnet. That could be pretty good. So once we get that, we could get over 7 cents and higher, and maybe even we get a super rally into 10 cents plus, right? So that's kind of where we might end up going in terms of if we did get something like that out. Having the proof of stake fork is a big deal, and the market should price that up. should price it in. Now, once we get there, trying to hold those different levels is another question, because then you have a gap between the testnet and the mainnet, and then maybe you start getting those volatile swings where people sell off, and then they go up again because they think mainnet's coming down in a couple of months. So that's kind of where we are as well. So that's kind of the picture at the moment that I see. Just trying to make sure I've talked about everything I wanted to. Let's pull this up and have a look at the time frame for Pulsechain. So that's kind of my prediction there for the short term over the next few days. I have got a bullish scenario in there. Obviously, nothing certain. It's just where I think it's more probable at the moment, and I do think we're going to continue this rally with a little, not on the hourly. If you look on the hourly, we'll get some people selling in, and then we'll keep going up. It's kind of the momentum I'm thinking about there. So let's actually get rid of the overlay. Let's have a look at the hourly on this chart just to have a look at this. And let's log that. So that is the chart that we've got at the moment. So you can see we got up to like 2.2. We had some profit taking in here. This is where people would normally get nervous and we would sell down further, right? But at the moment, we got this buying up here, got some sell down here, buying up here, sell down here, buying up here. We're getting this really big zigzag. So we are getting some profit takers in there. And typically this is where we would be breaking down, but we continue to go up. And I think that on this move, we could, particularly over the Hex conference, we could definitely have that excitement, that expectation playing into the chart. So that's kind of where the bullishness is coming from. All right, so cool. What I was going to say, I think that's it on there. Let's go back to the daily. We're going to have a look at the Pulsechain timeline now, which is the title of the video, Hex price prediction and Pulsechain launch timeline. And let's have a look where this is going to go. We'll get rid of the RSI and we'll put our overlays back on, and we'll go for gold as well. Now, I've been talking about this for the last week. So we're going to actually get into this, plus a little bit of information sitting behind this chart. Stay tuned for that. It's coming. So obviously we had the ETH proof of stake fork on the 15th of September. You can see it here. And of course, that was very successful. And we've got Richard Hart there announced the ETH proof of stake fork 24 days later on Hexology's show. That was pretty cool. So very excited. We got all the potential upgrades and benefits from proof of stake. Fantastic, fantastic. Future proofs the chain as well in the future, and doesn't discards all those issues that we're having with the proof of work version. So welcome to the future with Pulsechain. And then of course that's kind of cool. Now we've had this timeline here we've got from KDP. Remember KDP talking about insider information there from one of their teams, talking to Pulsechain team about hold off with your DApp thing. We've probably got the testnet coming out within a couple of weeks. Now, I put in the screen line here and was rather generous up to the 8th. I extended it to the 9th here, which is when Richard Hart will be doing his keynote speech there. Now, this is all just substantiated rumor. It's not empty rumor. It was substantiated by her internal source. So it's worthy of speculating upon. And that's with that B3 testnet. Now, obviously, since then, we've had a few things happen. We've obviously, KDP's been putting out a fair amount of things there as well, following the PulseX, in particular the PulseX GitLab as well. She goes, this is 24 hours ago. Okay, I'm excited. PulseX GitLab dev movements set up with Pulse execution node and Lighthouse client. And with the Lighthouse client, if you think about the components for Ethereum proof of stake, we have the consensus code and the validating code that's typically sit inside different softwares. You can have Lighthouse or Prism or something like that. You can have those. There's about half a dozen at least. And then, of course, we have the execution layer as well, which does all the smart contract stuff. And so those things interacting. And then, of course, we have node after node after node as you have in a blockchain doing the consensus. So that's kind of the background there. We are close, she says. So she's getting a bit excited about that. And, of course, we have gone through this the last couple of days as well with updates that have been being made in January. Of course, we've got all the members in here as well. Argus, 3 commas, Brett Paulson. We talked about Brett Paulson on New Year's with his tweet about how Pulsechain was going to change the world and Richard Hart was going to change the world. So very bullish coming from one of the devs as well, entering in for 2023. So, and we've got other devs in there as well. So it's kind of cool. So that is some of the cool stuff that's been happening there. And then, of course, we had some updates here on the Pulse Lighthouse. So remember, this is the consensus software. And of course, with the beacon node and everything else in there. So it was kind of alluding to something bullish. That's kind of cool. We also had Agris there also pushing updates as well on this as well. We're at the Lighthouse as well. So that's kind of where some of the bullish stuff is. So was this anticipating a bit of a excitement for the testnet V3 to come out, as KDP indicated from her contacts that were dealing with the Pulsechain dev team. So it's kind of cool. that's kind of where we are there on that one. And of course, you can see here on the Ethereum proof of stake, this is the Ethereum library on GitHub. And of course, you can see some of the stuff that the team will be interacting with, trying to get Ethereum up and running as well. So that's kind of the bullish stuff there. We may also, obviously, with the Shanghai coming up in March, and we may end up also with some upgrades with the EIP 4844, and that could also be a fast following in here as well. So you can see that from one of the devs. That's expected to potentially come in the Cancun upgrade after the Shanghai in March, and that's going to be a fast following upgrade. And of course, that will start with the dank sharding in there as well. So we're looking forward to that. So I think there could be quite a bit of rapid innovation in this. I'm not so sure if it's full on true sharding, and of course, this is going to impact the size of the pipes. Imagine the size of the pipe growing bigger, and you can have more transactions going through it. That's kind of the idea there. A bit like a water drain, you just make a bigger pipe, more water goes through. In this case, more transactions. That's kind of where we're heading with this. So this could be a big fast follower here with the Cancun upgrade, or we're implementing photo dank sharding in May or maybe June later on. So presumably, Pulsechain will get all the upgrades from this sort of stuff if it proves successful. So that's kind of the play as well. So we've got some cool things happening there. So that is pretty exciting stuff. And of course, if we go back to the Hex here, so we've got all that stuff playing out here. And of course, we've got the Shanghai upgrade, as I just alluded to there, possibly with the Cancun following pretty fast after that. And of course, May or June, so that'll be out this direction here. But in the meantime, we've also got the V3 license as well. So that's also out there too. So if we get the testnet now, that'd be pretty cool. And so if we actually adjusted this time frame and got the testnet here somewhere out before January, then you have, let's say you have that running for quite a while. We could have the testnet running anywhere along here, all the way through to let's say up into the March fork here with the ETH withdrawals. Remember, the Shanghai upgrade is about ETH withdrawals, so we're going to need that for Pulsechain too. We need Pulse withdrawals as well. Obviously, with the proof of stake, people can't take the ETH out. We're going to need that for Pulsechain, and so I presume if they get the testnet out, they'll just wait for the ETH update and just fork that rather than having to try and do some independent update with the upgrade for the Shanghai update. So that's what I expect there. Then of course we probably expect Pulsechain launch to happen sometime after that. And if you're going to wait that long, they may end up just waiting for the V3 license to be open as well, and then just do it all in say April, May, June, sort of that second quarter of the year. So I'm pretty bullish in this time frame. I think that's kind of where we are with the Pulsechain. That's based on all the information we know so far, as interpreted by me. And so there we are. That's it. That's obviously the timeline for Pulsechain. On that, of course, we're also thinking about the market price. And of course, we got the Fed there, rate hikes. We're still expecting, at least on this with consensus as well, based on investment.com consensus, still 25 basis points for February, March, and of course, finishing off with a terminal rate of 5%. Now that could potentially go a bit higher. The SEP was at 5.1%. That could get us to 5.2, which means another 25 basis points. That being said, the Fed could shock us with 50 basis points, although I think that's kind of slightly less likely now, especially with this wage data coming out. If we get inflation data coming back softer too, I do think that we've got that terminal that inflation rate is going to dive quite a bit. Now, Michael Burry, if you remember the Big Short movie, he was the one that caused. He did all the analysis on the property markets and all those derivatives, and of course he saw that they were tumbling, right? They were tumbling in the Big Short, and Michael Burry's actually called the inflation top. Says it's just going to fall pretty sharply, and of course expecting a pivot earlier. So that's kind of big news there for Michael Burry. I'll probably pull out more stuff from him maybe tomorrow. So that is kind of where we see the interest rates at the moment. So we got everything perhaps is timing very well for Q2 as this stage. Obviously, it's Richard Hartz makes the call. The dev team are the ones that deliver, but based on the information, it's kind of the time frame I kind of feel is fitting pretty well at this stage with the market and with the upgrade ability. Obviously, this will be more confirmed when we get that Pulsechain testnet V3. So let's see how it goes. This could end up playing out pretty well. We'll see. But that's all coming up there at the moment as well. The third component of the course, is that all the AAA projects building onto Pulsechain, the power cities of the world, the liquid loans, the fiat famous groups, the coasts, all these top tier groups will be able to finish all their dApps the staker wrap, all that sort of stuff, internet money, BankX, you name it, stable coins, on ramps, everything blockchain, Rack and Michelle, all that sort of stuff has time to get everything up and running and all ready to go when we land. So we've got all those three things looking pretty good by Q2 in my view. So that's kind of where the information is. Obviously, as we get more information from Richard Hart or the team, we'll upgrade our worldview, but it's kind of where it lands at the moment. So that's the Hex price prediction. And of course, that is the Pulsechain timeline that I have at the moment. All right, so cool. Let's have a quick look at the Hex whale bot. We got 3.6 million Hex staked 6 hours ago for 10 years. So very nice. We like that. Congratulations. Good move, right? Because we know about the 15th of February, we're going to have a massive, expecting a massive share Hex share rate hike of 600 Hex per T-share. That is currently on Hexfire's website. You can check that out by Crispy. And of course, you can find that one out. But that's a good move. If you're going to be staking a large amount of Hex or any amount of Hex, you want to get in before the 15th of February. That's funny enough, one day before, right? We got the Hex Godwild there coming out on the 14th. So that's one day after that. So it's kind of interesting timeline there. All right, so that is what we had there. So it's pretty cool. We got on this measure here, we had Hex back in the top 10. I'm not sure where that particular board is. Maybe it's CoinGecko somewhere. I'm not sure where that is. Not CoinGecko, it's somewhere. I'm not sure where that is. We had 17.3 million Hex staked for 810 days. Nice to see these large amounts getting staked. Very cool. We've got a penalty here. So we got, if you're staking Hex, got T-shares getting some nice penalties. Some more nice penalties here as well. So it's kind of cool. What else we got there? We had 2.6 million Hex staked for 10 years. Some more. So some nice Hex getting staked. Very, very cool. We like that. That's what Hex is all about, getting those T-shares. If you haven't checked out hex.com, the link's in the video description. Check it out. If you want to ask any questions, get into our Discord. The link's in the video description as well. We've got cool information, cool community in there. Willing to help you out if you're new to Hex. All right, so cool. That is where we are there on that one. We're going to jump into Hedron. Hedron is pretty bullish as well, but I think they've had quite a bit of their run at the moment. Just getting a bit of profit taking in here on the old Hedron. Actually, let's jump back to Hex quickly. I just want to say one more comment about Hex. We've over the last 24 hours, we had 429 buys in the top trading period versus 339 sells. That is a 55% buy over the sells. And volume, of course, that's 56% volume buy. So it's actually pretty similar to the number of sells. So that's cool to see 2.5 million versus 1.9. So that's good. That's what we want to see, more of that, more of that. Remember, with an AMM pool, the more people that are putting in US dollars and Ethereum and taking out Hex, then the ratio just starts moving in favor of the price going up higher. So it's kind of cool from that point of view. All right, let's jump over to Hedron. Hedron at the moment's got 24 hours, 65 buys, 41 sells. That is a 61% buy side. The volume is at 47%. So we'll just probably have a little bit of sell volume just in the last 6 hours or something. So I'm going to look at that. Yeah, last 6 hours. Yeah, last 6 hours we had a bit of selling off in there from the looks of it. But other than that, this is why it's gone a red candle. We're also getting a potential crossover. This is a bullish crossover here too, with the EMA 9-day EMA crossing over the 21. That hasn't happened yet though. Not happened yet, but it's not confirmed. So they could wane, they could reject each other and wane away. But at the moment, it's kind of looking kind of positive, it's heading in the right direction. We'll see. We're looking for that cross, and I think we possibly, if that does happen, we could get up to 2,000 with the right momentum. We seem to have all the right momentum at the moment. The next few days potentially could be pretty well. Hex is going up, so Hedron might very well follow its course as well, as you might expect. So that's kind of cool. I was going to make one more comment on that. I think that was pretty much it. I was going to try and see if we've got the RSI. Yeah, we've got the RSI here. The RSI is really down at 50%. So Brennan's talking about 50% rejection. Well, we did pretty much got rejected at 51. We're now at 48. So that's kind of where we're at. Maybe it's just a bit of a breather though. Obviously, if Hex keeps moving up, Hedron's likely to keep going too. We've got the buyers and sellers fighting at the moment. A bit of a crisscross, but the buyers just slightly ahead. So let's see if they can separate here in the next day or two. I do feel that this is probably going to keep going higher as well. My sense probably is just slightly lower than the Hex one though. So it's kind of on that one. Let's have a look at the HSI auctions. 4,368 Hex HSIs in the liquidation queue that have not yet been bought into the auction house. You have to bring them in there by starting the auction. Let's have a look how many in there. There are 32 in the auction house at the moment. Let's have a look, see what the big ones are. There's lots of something for everybody, as they always say. But we're going to have a look and see what the bigger ones are. We've We've got 100,000 Hex here, 12.38 T shares. Currently got 485 million Hedron on it. We've got 100,000 Hex, so all around about 12,000 T shares. Sorry, 12 T shares. We've got 100,000 Hex here, another one there, another 100,000. So there's some pretty decent ones for people who go hunting. Lots of 21,000 ones, 3 T shares, heaps of those in there. Something for everybody to go and bid on, I guess. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Hope Sandy Beach is trying again because she got outbid the other day and she was asleep when I guess it rolled over. So that is pretty much it on the Hedron. We're going to jump over to Dev Huey. Pretty much 24 hours ago, we had 7 watts of NFTs burned. That seems like a lot. 942. And of course, removed from the pool. We're now under 21,800 at 21,793. That's kind of cool. So slowly getting burned, but very slow, very slow. People are not letting go of these as well. So cool. That is pretty much the numbers there. Dollars burned. So what was it, about $2,000 it says here, I guess is what they're saying. That is pretty much it. We have had a couple of $10,000 days, but yeah, about $2,000 burned today. That's pretty much it, I think, from Dev Huey. Yep, that is Dev Huey. You can check out his hexmodel.com if you want to find out more information. Really great site. So you can check that out on Dev Huey. All right, so cool. That is it. Let's jump over to Zen. We're going to talk about the airdrops free claims. Before we do that, we're going to catch up on the chat and, of course, keep filling out the poll. We've got 68 votes. Will you be watching day 1 Hex conference online? 63% yes, 25% maybe, and, of course, 12% no. Let's see what the final results are. That will be starting up a bit later, about 45 minutes from now, I think, is when the Hex conference will start. So we're still got plenty of time to finish off our live stream as a pre-party. Is it a pre-party? I didn't put pre-party on there, but I guess it is. Anyway, let's have a look at Zen. Zen is currently at a 2,130. Slowed the grind there, and there's quite a few things for this. The ETH gap, the GWEI has been high, and I said that's kind of one of the things that holds the price up is the GWEI high, and then there's less people minting on Zen. That's kind of where it is. So this is a free claim mint. You can mint it yourself. Now I could talk about this for a long time. This is a possible play, not a probable play, but it's a high quality possible play. And of course, I think that it's got at least 4 phases in it. They're going to play out over the next 12 months. So this has only been around for 3 months, 90 days. It's early days for this project. It is based on log 2 function, so you're expecting massive inflation at the beginning over 8-year period and then to wean off as you go through time there. So this is typically like any inflation project. You want to get in early and get a lot of the inflation. That's kind of the early play there on this one. Now, we had saw the price bleeding down. As you guys know, I'm probably the only YouTuber that was crying in the first couple of days on live stream. Not almost crying, not quite crying. Almost crying on the live stream as people were buying this, knowing what was going to happen to the price. And so there we are. But at the moment, of course, we had some big manipulated pump here. That was a 10x pump. Then we had some of the NFT excitement for the NFTs. And, of course, we eventually got the NFT launch here as well. And, of course, that price actually probably was a little bit lower than what people thought it would pump to. But it still did pretty well. And, of course, then it got sold off. It was a buy the rumor, sell the news. And I saw it in live action. If you're watching the price, you could see that they were ready. The people that wanted to play the pump and dump, the buy the rumor, sell the news, you could see them just move. Went bam, 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 down it went. And, of course, slowly fighting that moment. At the moment, it's kind of got this floor around just over 2,000. And, of course, we would reasonably expect this to keep bleeding down. And what would be a reasonable price prediction? Well, one would reasonably expect potentially that once it reaches the max term is not profitable. It would probably happen before that, though. Is that's where the price would get down to. So you might recently see that go down, potentially down to maybe 500 or something like that, or even lower. So that's kind of the place. We're at 2,130 at the moment. So you might even see it break down. I still expect it to keep breaking down over time. However, there are pumpermentals that hold it up and make that a slow grind. And of course, the one is the gas fee being higher. And of course, we've had pretty high gas fees at the moment, and we haven't seen a lot of people minting. So that's what happens there when the GWEI is really high. So let's have a quick look at that briefly. So we've got GWEI's come down a little bit here, 18. But you can see there's only one person minting at the moment. That's only one heartbeat there, so it's pretty low. And typically people are waiting until it gets probably to about 16 GWEI, even lower, before they start really mining this again, or minting this again, I should say. Now, let's have a look at the profitability at the moment. 52 days is the average one based on the GWEI of 18. That is the average, that is the cost profitability. So you have a slowdown, especially when the GWEI was up at 50, 60 apparently earlier. That would have been very, very high. It would have been months, many months of that. So that's one of the key indicators you're watching there as well. what does that mean? That means that less people in the future are going to be minting, relatively speaking. But of course, it's just a temporary a moment during a day, but it can last quite a long time. When a GWAI is high, people will not be minting. That lowers the expected future minting inflation. And of course, we can see that down the bottom. Here it is here. This is what we've got here at the moment. So we've got 43 trillion that people are mining at the moment. I don't know if this includes the NFT, new NFTs like the Xerion there, but we'll find out. Currently, 8.51% is in mining progress. 400, just under 500 trillion has not been mined. In other words, people have to wait for the gas to come down before they're going to go mine it. That's pretty much it. So 46 trillion is being mined. Our supply at the moment is a massive let's actually go to circulating supply up the top here. It's 3 trillion. It's 3 trillion at the moment. This is what's in circulating supply. But sitting on, so this is probably about 30 to 35, maybe even slightly higher, is sitting on exchanges. So it's very sticky supply out of this amount. So maybe 1 trillion is sitting on the exchanges, Huobi, MEXC, and of course those kind of things there. So Uniswap. So that's kind of stuck on there. Now the one thing we're looking at is this one here, the Zen supply. This is the other key thing. Remember, we're only 90 days into this project, so it's got multiple phases to run through. So we have to talk about this in a year's time to see how successful they were. It is a possible play. They're doing a lot of new things in crypto, so it's kind of fun to see it play out. So what do we have yesterday? The 6th, we had new supply was 133 billion. That's what people claimed that day. And of course, then they staked some was staked. And of course, then we had new burns as well. So 4.2 billion was burned. So that's the play there. We're down to 133 was the amount that says daily new liquidity on that one. But yesterday, it was even lower. Yesterday, we had supply of 103 claimed, 103 billion claims, 36 billion apparently was staked. Seems a very high number to check that one. But we had 4.25 billion burned. And of course, then we ended up with net new liquidity of 67 billion there. So that's kind of the play there. You can see the last couple of days it's been very low additions to the supply. So we've had a couple of low days, but we're probably getting back to a normal. This kind of supply will probably have a bigger impact on the price of Zen, as well as depending on what's happening with the minting there as well, with the supply hitting the market. But anyway, we've managed to keep it down to just over 3 trillion, but this is going to keep going up, and no surprises there. So we've got to take 3 trillion, and we add on the future minting, which is down the bottom here with 46. So there's going to be hyperinflation as we continue to go, as we have that log function go. Now, here's the phases that we're going to be looking at. We've got the inflation phase, then we've got the burn phase, which we're currently in at the moment. Then we're going to have the NFT staking phase, and then, of course, the lending phases as well. Now, there's potentiality for a whole ecosystem to build on top of this. There's been about 25 teams that are looking to build. Now, that takes time as well to build the ecosystem. Now, remember, one of the key differences from Hex to Zen is that Hex is trying to be a store of value, like Bitcoin, like Pulse Bitcoin, all that sort of stuff, in its own way. It's got its own tokenomics to do that, whereas Zen is trying to be a medium of exchange. So it's trying to get people to use it eventually down the line. Now, it's only 90 days out, so it's still building all the stuff. So there's a long way to go to see whether this can actually do it. So that's kind of the play there. So it's going to be interesting to see all these supply sinks, as well as the ecosystem build out, and trying to make this more of a medium exchange. Now, I'm not talking about a global medium exchange. It may very well do that. People have joked with Jack about getting Google to take Zen on. If that ever happens, then you're talking about massive price re-rate, right? So it's going to play there. So we're going to keep watching this. That's some of the little things I want to talk about today with this. We'll be seeing how it goes at the moment. But of course, grabbing the inflation is probably the key play there. We will see some people that do it, maybe they'll end up being absolute superstars. Maybe some of those who don't do it, maybe they'll absolutely be one of those people that go, oh, well, I should have, could have, but I was criticizing. We'll see how this goes in time. So it's going to be fun to watch this one. This is going to have rapid development in it, right? The founder is a dev, and we're going to see rapid development there. So I'm excited about this one. It is a free mint. You can have a look at it as well. All right, so that is the Zen one. We're going to have a quick look at the Wait token. This is another alpha project from Coast as well. And of course, this is with the fiat on-ramp, off-ramp. We're looking to see that very soon with that coming on board. And of course, that's going to go to Pulsechain as well. So we have fiat on-ramp, off-ramp. And of course, they're going to have their own stable coin, the CST, which will be at least one of the 4 or 5 native stable coins on Pulsechain, of course. Others are like BankX, like USDL. Those are sort of stable coins. And we need those, right, to value DeFi in US dollar terms. So it's kind of cool. Now, we're going to have the best models of stable coins, but this is not about stable coins, so we'll move on. Anyway, it's had a bit of a pump here on the weight token. This might actually potentiality for pumping pretty high too. If any of these fees from these on-ramp, off-ramps ends up feeding into the people holding the weight token, particularly version 2 when it comes out, then that this could really pump. We will see, because obviously it then has intrinsic value out of it. So we'll find out about that. That is there. And of course, PP, Paul Pleb, had a little pump as well. It's pretty low, but had a bit of a pump here. We got down to 1800 here. It's pumped up to 2100 last day. I kind of find that amusing, but I guess Hex is pumped, so why not? There we are. It took a little delay to get there, but it's up there. Now, this is a very small free claim. It's about 1.4 million tokens per claim. And of course, only worth $1.50 or something like that. I can't remember. It's probably not worth it for the gas to claim. So it's up to you what you want to do there. But anyway, there's another one of the free claims there. That's kind of where we are there on that one. Let me just go to Pulse Bitcoin quickly. We're going to jump out of here, and we're on the gas way. There's been pretty high. The other one thing I was going to say is that we know that Zen. I'm just coming back to Zen quickly because I want to talk about this. We know that Zen is burning a heck of a lot of Ethereum, right? A heck of a lot of Ethereum, and it's actually helping with the deflation on Ethereum. It's also increasing the. Remember, most of that gets burned, right? I think something like 90% gets burned or something, and of course, then the people staking get the rewards. But at the moment, we've since the fork here, we've had a bit of deflation on the ETH supply. We've got some modest inflation since that time, and of course, we've got the Zen has been playing a big role in terms of the amount of burning. So, been really keeping a cap on the supply there. So that's kind of cool. But this Zen's not the only one. Zen's not the only one doing that, right? We've got other things like Blur come out with the marketplace. This thing is super fast. It's like 10 times faster than standard marketplaces. And this thing has taken market share pretty fast. We're expecting the Blur to launch. I think they're doing the airdrop launch before the end of the month. If you do trade on their market, then you will get part of the airdrops, right? That's pretty much how it's working here on Blur. And it's kind of taken the markets by storm here at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see this one play out as well. Now, it's super fast. You see Blur is 10 times faster. They're comparing it to Gem here. So you can see the pending trades. Now, we do know these are quite slow, right, these trades. And, of course, this one here is talking about 0.4 seconds for the trade there versus 9.4 seconds. That's pretty decent move there. The market seems to be liking it a lot. So it's kind of cool on that one. And so we're looking forward to that. All trades on Blur will receive airdrop with the launch of the Blur token early next year. Now, we're probably expecting this to happen before the end of the year. So soon, friend, launch, to be honest, that was 7 hours ago. Launch date to be announced. So I'm expecting that to happen as well. So it's going to be pretty cool. We can also see Blur in the leaderboard already taking up the top there in front of OpenSea. Blur aggregated there as well. So with the US dollar volume traded. So some pretty stuff happening there. You got famous NFTs there, CryptoPunks. So, DeFi, Zen is a DeFi. And, of course, we got Zen, DeFi and NFTs really starting to put some real economic activity, through the Ethereum network. And it's going to be fun to see this. They're very bullish for Ethereum moving ahead. And so that's going to be kind of cool. I just wanted to point out some of that stuff because if you look at the different things that are burning ETH, then, you've got all these different platforms, different NFTs, different DeFi coming in, and of course helping that along. So it really does add value to Ethereum over time. And of course, Pulsechain will be forking Ethereum, and of course we'll be like, was it Richard uses something like another McDonald's? It's going to be cool. Down the road, we'll take some of the load and that sort of stuff. So it's going to be fun to see that play out. That is pretty much there on that one. I just want to jump through that, and of course we're going to talk about Pulse Bitcoin. Pulse Bitcoin at the moment $1.58. Now this is trying to play off as a store of value. The market is not quite yet playing ball on that. It is down at $1.58, but of course people are using the asset token to mine Pulse Bitcoin, and they're mining a lot of this at the moment. It is $1.58 at the moment. Now that might bounce from here and have a nice little rally. We will see, but it is finding support here at about $1.58. But one would think that this is going to get a price bump at the rally. But what's the market doing? The market has been pricing the asset token itself, which is the money printer. It's like the T-share, as it were. And of course, you can see this is holding up here at the moment at $2.78. So is this about to move higher, or is it going to break down? You can decide. I still think that this is on an uptrend. And of course, this is probably just taking a bit of breather here before it makes its next move. This is the money printer here on ASICs. And there's no way to get ASICs except through the ATM NFTs. So you can only buy those on Wearable OpenSea. There's not that many of them either. and some people are probably going to keep holding those, see how it goes. We got the Pulse Dogecoin, the meme coin. It is now competing with those other two, in my view, with the ASIC and the Pulse Bitcoin. It is the meme coin, but of course, it's got to hold that status on Pulsechain. Really, this is obviously going to on Ether at the moment, but it's got to try and hold that that top meme coin. And I still think it does. But it really has got to show that in the price chart, right? It's currently at $5.71. This is after 56% burn. So going from 6.1 million tokens down to about 2.6 million. Still got to hold that there at the moment. Currently $5.71. We'll be watching this to see whether it can rally higher on this one. So let's see how it goes. Pretty much it. Now the strategy for this is the basic strategy that Richard Hart talks about. How does something go up? People buy and they hold it and they don't sell it, right? I mean, you know, relatively speaking, that's basically more than often. And of course, this is the same idea here, is that you want to get ASIC tokens, mine your Pulse Bitcoin, and don't sell your Pulse Bitcoin. Then go out and spread the word and get more people to buy Pulse Bitcoin. And you don't even need to sell your whole bag. You just sell a bit of bit here and there because you're just scraping the interest. That's kind of the holy grail. But of course, you can't get a whole market to collude that way. You've just got to do your best to encourage them. This is pretty much it. So that's true for all crypto, though, right? So all Hex, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. You need more people buying and holding. Hex has mechanisms, of course, as a store of value, and that is in the case that you have get T-shares, you hold those T-shares, and you get your reward. That way, it's kind of the way it does. And of course, we have the Origin account is set up specifically to act like a financial operator, as I always say on this channel. And of course, keeps the APY up, keeps the inflation down, pretty much it. And of course, we may very well, I suspect, maybe after Pulsechain, I might see the maybe even before we might see the Origin account do some more staking. So that's definitely plausible. We have heard Richard talk about indicating perhaps the APY is a little heavy on the high side and pull that back a little bit there. We'll see how that regulates that as well. We have our own Federal Reserve called the Origin account, apparently, inverted commas there, quotes. So there, all right. That's kind of fun there. We're going to see how that plays out. Let us jump over that. It's pretty much Pulse Bitcoin as well. And of course, the big announcement today is Texan token. Of course, this is from Crypto Heartbeat. And of course, I'm going to post this in the chat there around Texan token. And let's have a look here. Texan token. You can watch this. This was their launch video from Crypto Heartbeat and Rags to Riches. That's it there. And of course, that was pretty awesome, right? So they did a whole video, hour 22 long, so you can go watch that. And of course, the price was just up and away. Now, here is the Texan chart at the moment. It has had a big rally, typically what we see in crypto. Let's have a look at 24 hours. We had 179 buys and 129 sells so far. There's been 44% buy volume versus 56% sell volume, 52,000 versus 66. And of course, we just started early there. So look at the last 6 hours. You know, it's pretty much it. It's only been around for 6 hours. How long has it been around? Only a couple of hours, actually. So look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. It's been around. So it's pretty early, baby. I'm putting it on the 15-minute chart just because it's a bit more shape. Had a big rally up to 4,446 with, what's that, 4 zeros in front of it. And of course, it is down to, sold down here, down to 1168 with 4 zeros. Got back up to 2,900 and then it's got back down to 1972. It's kind of where it is at the moment. Still early days. This is on the 15-minute chart. We'll see how it gets on. Now, how many tokens are in there? 6.4 billion with a B tokens in there. That's how much. And USDC 12,567. So there's $12,000 in volume, $143,000 in liquidity in the pool. That's kind of where it is. So it's just brand new. We'll see how it goes up. If more people are buying, then we'll get a nice big fat amount of liquidity in there, right? It'll just start going up. It will be go 200,000, 300,000. We'll see whether more people buy than sell. Now let's have a look at the supply numbers on the Etherscan. So big congratulations, by the way, to Crypto Heartbeat and Rags to Riches, two awesome YouTubers in our space and Hexkins, of course. Is that not going to open up for me? Let's try that one more time. I think there's 100 trillion, right? 100 trillion tokens. It's not opening up. Anyway, it's not opening up for some reason. I think there's 100 trillion tokens, and there's a lot of big holders in there on the Etherscan. But there's only 6.4 billion of Texan tokens in the liquidity pool at the moment. So it's kind of where it is. So big shout out to these two fine gentlemen here. You can see them there for their launch. That's really cool. Now, obviously, this is going to be copied over to Pulsechain. So everyone's getting a copy over there. And of course, they do have a staking pool there, don't they, on their DApp that you can stake and earn rewards and things like that. So they call it a slightly different name, but that's kind of where they are there. So big congratulations to them. And of course, KD in our Discord is part of their team. So a big shout out to him. If you've got any questions, talk to KD in our Discord. Links in the video description. And you can talk to him about that. So that's kind of cool. We're going to get into the Hex Daily Stats, though, because we got day 1,131 hot off the press. Before we do that, though, we're going to finish our poll. We've got 76 votes. Let's finish the poll. And how many we get? So 63% of people are going to be watching the first day of the Hex conference. 25% says maybe, and 11% said no. So it looks like possibly out of 9 out of 10 people there will be watching the Hex Day conference, which is about to start in about 25 minutes, if I have my calculator right, about 25 minutes away. I posted a link to that in the video description above. Let's talk about any more comments we've had in the chat since I had my long discussion there about all those projects. Let's jump back up the top here. Yeah, we got Brennan. He was talking about XPLS, PLSX being the driver of DeFi adoption. I agree with that big time. PSI says, let's try to be more professional today, team. No more jokes about Superman's kryptonite being, what's it, exfoliating and self-tanning facial soap. Yeah, that was 3 days ago there, PSI. PSI is just running that joke out pretty long. Check My Pulse says, evening Hexkins. Let's go Hexago. 2023 is the year of Pulsechain. That's so true. Check My Pulse. It is looking really, shaping up really good for that. We've got Matt says, still learning, third time lucky. Don't sell top early. Don't hold troops long, says Matt. Yep, there's quite a bit of lesson to be learned in that. PSI says, I don't see a crypto run right now. Maybe Hex if we get good news. Maybe we don't see too much more downside and just go sideways until we get through the 2 Fed hikes. Well, I think January is kind of window opportunity, and so we don't have any Fed hikes this month. So, and we're getting kind of positive economic data. So I think it's kind of looking a little bit better than what we thought it might be at this time of the year. PSI says, it's easy, sell the top and buy the bottom. Yeah. PSI says, find a YouTuber to tell exactly when to buy and sell. They probably offer completely impartial advice with no regard for their own bags, unless they're selling margin trading shills. Brennan says, I like your analogy, Superman, to drive above the 50% level. Thanks, Brennan. Appreciate that. So Brennan's a trader out there. So good stuff from Brennan. The question says, I just checked my Hex bag. All I can say is I'm doing the Indian dance around my coffee table. Nice one there, Christian. That's so cool. Congratulations. And Brennan says, I really thought the markets would move more down after hearing the Silvergate news. This is Brennan. When Zen conference, probably later in the year. It's only 90 days old, so that's probably something in the future. Who knows, maybe Crypto Kindness or Jim Rat Crypto will run some of that. So, yeah. Some of the big YouTubers covering Zen, Crypto Kindness, Jim Rat Crypto, Trayvon, and I think there's one other, but they're kind of the ones that have interviews with Jack. And then there's quite a few small channels around. There are actually some very large middle-sized channels that are covering Zen, so they're out there too. There's a couple of them, at least 2 or 3, that are up in the 50, 70,000 sub mark. They're covering them, so they're starting to get momentum there. PSI says they keep needing to find a bigger and bigger venues as people keep minting free tickets. It's a real problem. Crypto T says 20x to all-time high. Man, I was filthy rich 400 days ago, says Crypto T. That's hilarious, man. That's really funny. We got Christian says, I feel like the powers that be in crypto gave us a small bone with a bit of meat. We ain't getting the steak yet, says Christian. Brennan is because of a lot of money is locked up, so can't sell. Like FTX, the news was out, but holders couldn't get their funds, so the downward pressure was not like it could have been. Maybe that's very true too. Christian says, why Pulse Bitcoin isn't showing Uniswap? Well, I just showed that chart earlier, so it's definitely still there. PSI says, I didn't have any dry powder available to buy Hex low. I would have liked to, but I'm not upset to see my bag move up. Yeah, that's the thing. So if you already got Hex, it's up on the move in your portfolio value. What else there? Brennan says, wishing you were speaking at the conference. I put your name forward to Maddie, but may have been too late. Well, Brennan, I did get an invite to it, but I didn't apply for it. So that's pretty much what they basically sent an invite out on Twitter. Just DM'd, and you could fill out some form or something. I didn't do that. I just don't feel like doing anything like that at the moment. I'm just quite happy to do what I'm doing on this channel on a consistent basis. Matt Silvergate is liquidating their position in crypto to counteract the fall from FTX. Yeah, that's kind of one of the ones we're watching for the contagion fallout. By the way, there's Gen Hex these days. I don't know, but he's going to be on the conference there, Matt. He's going to be on the conference. I do know that he lost his old website, YouTube site. He did something wrong on that, and it disappeared. And then he started a new channel. But he's I don't know where that's got to. He's still one of the syndicated YouTubers in our Discord. So yeah, I haven't seen much of him though. Matt says, Brent, ouch, I missed that too much beach. Let me jump through some of this. We've got InvestX in house. Hello, everybody tuned in from the UK. Big shout out to you, InvestX. If you haven't checked out InvestX platform, definitely check that out. I do still need to cover it. I still haven't got around to it. I do need to do that. And thanks for reaching out to me, InvestX, the other week there. Brody says, prayers to the Hexagon who lost his daughter in Idaho murder. Oh, really? That's right. He did too. Yes, very much. Prayers for him. And, of course, rest in peace there. Texan hit in the wallet today. Nice one, Groot. Yeah, I didn't even ask you guys whether you'd got your Texan tokens in the wallet, but that airdrop had happened. Direct all questions to Texan token Telegram today. Thanks, everybody, says Katie. Yeah, so Katie can do that. Katie, if you're still running your Discord, you can always post the link to that in the chat if you want, Katie. Christian says, I missed what Superman said about Texan token to do the airdrop. Yes, they did. It's on the video. I did post the video to Crypto Heartbeat. You can check that out. Life's been into the house there. How are you today? Very good. Hex, EHEX, PLS, and PLX for the win. 100%. That's how we roll here. Tim Top's in the house as well. What's up, Hexkins? What's up? Good to see you, Tim Top. Sandy Beach says, check out the doxy that Briz made on Twitter. Very nice. Yeah, well, I covered that at the beginning. Sandy Beach, I covered that at the beginning. Brizology's artwork there. First you ever cover it, but who's keeping count? The Zen, you said? Dramatic Crypto? Yeah, Zen. Yeah, I think you were actually. Christian Collins says, thanks, Christian. There will be a Zen conference. We did cover that earlier. Keep it up, Hex Token. Awesome. I appreciate that. Respect from Brennan Leclerc. Archipelagos in the house says, hey, Superman, what do you think the price action of Hex will be for PLS main? Well, I just talked about that at the beginning of the live stream. Not at the beginning, but almost at the beginning. It was the second topic of the day. So you can go back and check that out, Archipelago. Couldn't it skyrocket because of LP providers hanking Ethereum and USDC to avoid getting copies of those on Pulsechain? You're talking about mainnet before mainnet? Yeah, well, hey, look, it could do all sorts of crazy things by that time. Could do some crazy stuff. We'll have to know. We'll have to have a guess of the price by the time we get there with a higher price, right? That will give you a better idea where it might go to. I think that's it on there. All right, so cool. That is the Texan Token Telegram. If you want to find out more information around the airdrop today and, of course, the price going live, you can check that out. If you have any questions, check your wallets as well, I guess. All right, so cool. We've got day 1,131, and we've got the 6th of January 2023. We've got the price at the moment, 2.469 cents on the snapshot. Another good day. Look at that. It's prices increases. We like that in Hex, don't we? We like that. It's a long time since we've seen stuff like that. So 30.7% off a low base, but hey, we'll take it. And of course, what have we got there? The payout per Hex, 6.3 Hex per D share. A good day in the office. That's better than the minimum. We've got the share rate there. Share price, $628. Look how quickly the share price is going up. That Hex price, what's the share price? It's determined by the share rate and it's determined by the price. And boy, has it jumped. Man, look at that. 488 up to 628 to get a T-share at the moment. Now, you can get that for a third of the price if you do longer pays better, because every year that you stake Hex, you get 20% more shares, and therefore over 10 years, you could get 200% discount or more shares, and then, of course, get that for a third of the price. That's the way to go. Now, there's that 25,453. We do expect that on the 15th of February, this will jump over 26,000. We'll have around about a 600x increase that day. So if you are going to stake, definitely look to stake earlier than that. You can find that information on hexfire.io if you want to double check that, but that's where it is. Average stake length is 6.52. And of course, we've got 36.62% APY for all the hexagons out there. No, it's not for all the hexagons. It's just for the average stake length there based on the original time frame. But that's yield and early in-stake penalties. Pretty juicy. Liquidity in the pool, 291 million. Woohoo! Yeah! We jumped below 300 million hex in the pool. Isn't that cool? Look how high we were before, man. We're up crazy high. 388, 308, 392. what was it like 10 days ago? Yeah, so 398. We got up to 398. That was on day 1121. That's crazy stuff right there. The pool was down at 9.2 million US dollars. Now we're back up almost at 11 million bucks. Woo-hoo-hoo! That's about $1.8 million. Yeah, baby. Yeah, boy. That's how we rock and roll in Hex. Just makes you excited to sing the ching-chings. Anyway, so that's kind of cool. Let's jump our way to the T-shares. They're down 937, down to 10.3 million. And of course, as I always say, Hex is easy to understand. We're a reward pool with inflation and penalties. We have an ownership pool with T-shares. If they go up or down, then the Hex payout for T-share changes every day. Basically, it's just going to go up and to the right, but not in an even pace, but it's pretty much the direction there. So cool. What else there? The stake percentage of coins, 10.04% of Hex's staked. We got a pretty good penalties today, 1.4 million. That's a pretty good day in the office. Hex is growing. This is the thing we like to see, grow, grow, grow. And of course, we got 207 increase in wallet holders today, up to 316,000. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. And you got to remember, people like to pay higher prices. So that's just the way it goes. That's funny. That is human nature is so funny. But anyway, 207 is the increase there. We've got stakers up 45, up to 116,945. And of course, this is our headline number. It's the one we really want to see grow. We want more Hexkins to stake. And of course, that gets Hex off the market. And of course, makes the marginal price go up. So there we are. The marginal price of any market, that's the thing that counts, right? Ultimately. But in terms of medium term, we think about the circulating supply, what's taking that down as well. But it's kind of cool there. So we're at total holders up 333, up to 520,884. That's day 1131, folks. And we were in the second month of year 4 of the Hex journey, and we're on day 1132 with a base payout of 6.23 Hex per T-share. That is how we roll, folks. That is it. And of course, we're about 15 minutes away, maybe 12 minutes away from the Hex third conference there online. So that is about to start up pretty soon. Hex at the moment, let's have a quick look on that. Probably got sold off after I gave my price prediction. People go, damn, I'm not, it's smashed that suit, man. Remember, the hourly will be different from the daily. So just remember that. We will have sales, intraday sales as well. Let me get rid of all my overlays. That is the price at the moment. Let's go to the hourly on this chart and have a look at that. And let's auto log that. Boom. There we are. So yeah, someone watched my live stream and they thought they're going to ruin the chart for me. It's currently at 2.374, but we are expecting to see some sell-offs in here as we move higher. And of course, if the momentum protrudes there, let's see how we get on. Nothing is certain. Just I'm playing probability there and just thinking what's more probable than not over the next couple of days, all the way through to the 9th with Richard Hart there. If we get Pulsechain test net, that's going to be huge, a special event, and that could completely change the market price. We will see. The money starts flowing in, right? Once you get that trend reversal, it's never even though, of course, the trend reversal, once you get that, the money starts flowing in. And just like it flowed out, it starts flowing back in. And so we'll be looking for that. Now, it's not true for crap coins. Crap coins does keep going down to zero. But if you've got something that has a great narrative, that has lots of utility coming, that's going to be a game changer, then things can happen very, very fast. And the money starts flowing in. People don't want to miss out. Remember, when you buy Hex, you're getting a copy on the Pulsechain as well. And, of course, some of us are very bullish about its liquidity pooling. I think it's going to probably be pretty good. I'm suspecting that we'll have 2 really solid passive income chains, ETH chain and Pulsechain, as Hexkins. It's going to be a pretty vibrant place to be. And, of course, that by itself attracts a lot of attention as well. So, cool. But nothing beats green candle up and to the right unless you are looking at the roadmap of something and thinking, damn, that roadmap looks good too. If I get in early, then maybe the long game is going to play off, or the medium game is in some cases. That's kind of the play there. All right, so I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Let me pull up the Hex conference again. Let's go and see how that countdown is going. I think it's this link. Can I just jump on that? I think it's down further here. This is on. Let me go to day 1. That is the one there. So let's go to that. So yeah, 10 minutes to go to the Hex conference. Woo-hoo-hoo! And we're live with Matty Allen. And we're live. We're live up and to the right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world. Hex conference. 3rd annual Hex conference. Yay! You saw it here on Hex Token channel with Superman. Fireworks. That's crazy on this channel, man. Have I been smoking something or what? Do I need to be rugged? Do I need to be rugged on this channel? Was I supposed to end the show about 10 minutes ago and I'm still going? We're coming up to an hour and 20 minutes, so maybe I was. Maybe it's a little bit long on the tooth there. Let's see what else is going on here. We got, I think we got up to, let's get up to Groot. Says, killing it every day, big guy. We thank you. Hey, Groot, appreciate that. What else there? Get your T-shares now, folks. Only going to go up and to the right. Yeah, 15th of February, we're expecting a big move higher there, especially after the 15th of February. Superman done told you, yeah. Let's actually pull it up. Let's pull it up there. I think we can do it. Hex Fire, is it? Hex Fire. Hopefully it's going to render, because sometimes it doesn't render for me. Sometimes it just goes blank. I don't know why. Probably my cache or something like that. Anyway, let's pull it up and see. There it is. That is it. That's what we're expecting right there. That is it. Once I got the 15th, 16th there, it's going to jump. Expected to jump from, based on this, from 25 up over 26,449, something like that by the 16th, is it? 16th, I think that's right, yeah. So that is the big move. I just toggled it off, I did. This is us moving up at the moment. So we're recently tracking this reasonably well. It's not a perfect tracker from the looks of it, but it's pretty close. We are expecting some other little increases in there too, but it's a good estimation, and this is probably not incorrect. So such a big movement's most likely going to happen. We will see. Give or take a day. Give or take a day. All right. So anyway, we've got 8 minutes to go. We've got 178 people waiting for this. This is the conference. I will post this in the chat there if you want to check that out. Crypto says when Superman interview. I haven't done one for a while. Just don't feel like them at the moment. But hey, maybe in the future when I feel like it. It's holidays, man. It's holidays. I got that holiday mode on. It's supposed to be summer, even though it's raining here. It's supposed to be summer. Bob Wells says, "Love my Texan bag today." Well done, Bob Wells. Well done to you on the Texan claim. Wow, Texan token up and to the right says Crypto T. Brandon says PLS Bing. PLSX Bing, Hex Boom. Yeah, PLSX Bing, PLSX Bing, Hex Boom. Something like that. I like that. That's what the reason we got that from My Life is Awesome, because he used to do it on his videos, do this overlay with that sort of stuff, and it's pretty funny. It's probably the closest thing to Trayvon. You know, Trayvon has this music where he has people laugh and crowds and all sorts of stuff. Pause. He has think pause. I guess when someone's dropping some good information. Bong rips a sick man. Yeah, bong rips. That's true. Try to keep away from that stuff, to be honest. Try to keep away from that. So that is the Hex conference. It's about to start in a couple of minutes' time. 6:42 minutes. I will, guys, see you there. The one I'm going to be watching is I will watch a bit of the beginning, but the one I'm probably going to be watching is I'm going to be watching the Kinetics one there. That's the one I want to watch. That's a few, 3 hours from now? They'll be after the lunch, I guess. I don't know if they have lunch online. Probably not. I think no other physical conferences, but that's the one I'll be watching the most. Ruth, I'll be watching that too. Pretty keen on that. And maybe Alex's one around the data center might be pretty interesting. Presuming that's what he's going to talk about in addition to Hedron and Okosa. So yeah, it's kind of the ones that I'll be looking forward to myself, just myself personally. All right, so cool. That is it. Was that it? I think so. Let me post in their conference timeline just in case you want to check it out. I'm going to wrap up now. We're up to an hour and 23 minutes. I'll see you guys on there, probably watching as well. Let's see here. You mean Suppo Man? I know who you're talking about now with Suppo Man. He was actually interviewed Richard some time back, right? A long time ago. It's the guy from the UK crypto YouTuber too. Yeah, he's the one that interviewed Richard some time back. I'm pretty sure it was Suppo Man. Cheers for the alpha, says Brennan. You're welcome. 2 more weeks till 2 more weeks, friends, says Alex. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Great info, says Crypto T. Welcome. Thanks, Superman, says KD. Hit the like button from High Stakes Hex. Thank you, Hex Token from Sandy Beach. Alex is one of the first speakers I heard, says Tintop. Yep. He's going to be pretty good, I think. All right, take care, everybody. We're going to play out some cool music on the way out. We are counting it down. Let me pull. What are we going to play here? We're going to play our favorite, which is Little Bubble Boy. All right, Little Bubble. It is, sorry, to be correct. I've got to stop saying boy on the end. It's a bit derogatory. All right, so here we are. Boom. Bye. Peace out.
Art here in my $3,000 Valentino Rockstud purse, my $3,000 Prada jacket, $2,000 Prada shirt, $2,000 or $3,000 Prada pants, Prada glasses, Prada hat, Prada bracelet, and it's all Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters tears. right off.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.